Hey guys, Jack here, and today more myth busting in Battlefield 1 and demonstrating some of the new mechanics in the game, general sciencey stuff I thought you might like to see, what would happen if and is this possible, do you know style. Remember, this is a closed alpha, so some of it will probably change before launch, but without further ado, what's on the menu today? Let's kick things off with something exciting. What happens if you throw a heavy anti-tank grenade at an airplane? Well, it blows up in quite spectacular fashion. This works on all three of the airplanes, including the bomber. Is this likely to happen in a real game? Probably not, maybe if you're on top of the Zeppelin or on a roof, but very cool either way. You can also destroy airplanes with the Assault 80 rocket gun, although it is a hard shot unless they're flying directly towards you. Sliding into the next scene, there's a slide in the game. Yes, if you sprint and press the crouch button, your character will slide. Useful for ducking into cover and keeping your head down, but we all know its real intended purpose: sliding kills. Oh baby. The duration of the slide is very short, but it goes on for long enough that you can fire your gun and kill an opponent whilst looking like a World War I badass. Very cinematic, that one. There's a rumour going around the scene that the anti-tank K bullets the Scout class gets can actually penetrate the armour of a vehicle and kill the driver or passengers inside. Is this possible? Well, I've done some testing and I don't think it is. We tested this on the heavy tank, light tank and light armoured vehicles, guessing where the driver would be based on the entering animation and first person perspective of the driver. So shooting at where we think they are several times with the K bullets and never managed to get a kill. However, K bullets do damage vehicles, but at the moment it doesn't look like you can kill the passengers on the inside with them. Maybe the mechanic just isn't in the game yet, and perhaps it would be a bit too overpowered anyway. Riding on vehicles has been much improved from previous Battlefield games. You can jump onto tanks, for example, and surf them quite easily to victory, even airplanes if you want. However, you will fall off if the aircraft turns sharply. Interestingly, in this clip my soldier was given a parachute even though I wasn't a pilot class or had spawned on the Zeppelin. So from this we can assume that above a certain height players are given the option to deploy a parachute. From A to B, is a bayonet charge faster than sprinting? Let's see. If two players start sprinting at the same time, one continues to sprint and the other bayonet charges, the player in the bayonet charge will move faster for a short period of time. However, the slowdown effect after the charge has finished is enough for the sprinting player to overtake them. This means that using the bayonet charge to cover open ground quickly will not be as effective as just sprinting. However, you could use the charge to get into the cover of a building, for example, faster than if you were just sprinting. Interestingly, you can also perform a takedown on a player that's bayonet charging to stop them in their tracks. Can you shoot while jumping? No, you can't. Can you shoot while falling? Yes, you can. Let's take a look at the scope glint mechanics in the game. In the closed alpha, if you take a bolt action rifle that has MA next to it, it stands for marksman, I think, and it will have a bigger scope with more magnification on it. As such, this means that in sunny weather conditions, when you aim down the scope, the enemy will see a big ass shining light on their screen, alerting them to your position, so be wary of that. However, if the weather is foggy or rainy, no scope glint will be visible at all. It makes sense really because there's no sun. It's an interesting way of balancing the Scout class. Now, it's worth mentioning that SH rifles, I think that stands for sharpshooter, have smaller magnification scopes, the ones that have that kind of box thing on the side, and they've got no scope glint in any weather conditions at all. I don't know if this is a bug or intentional by design, but that's how it's working in the closed alpha. So perhaps if you wanted to be a sneakier scout, take the SH variants of the rifles, but remember that you won't be able to zoom in as much with your scope. What happens if you sprint through a door, bust it open and there's someone stood on the other side? Do they get knocked back or take any damage? No, they don't. Sometimes you will sprint through them and other times you'll just block into them. On the flip side though, very cool this, if you bayonet charge through a door and there's a person on the other side, yes, you guessed it, they're going to be dead. Surprise, here's Johnny. Let's take a look at some of the locational tank destruction now. Here on the land ship, if you target the side cannons with 80 rocket guns or grenades or something explosive, you can actually blow them out and disable them, rendering them useless for anyone inside the tank. Pretty neat that. However, if the driver driver repairs the tank, they'll come back and be usable again. Also, locational damage on planes. The tail, the wings and engine can all be targeted, and successful hits will affect the mobility of the plane. Once again though, if the pilot self-repairs, the damage will be reversed, and of course, you can shoot the pilot out of the plane as well. It wouldn't really be a Battlefield game without that. Moving on, tripwire bombs. Can you prone over them to not set them off? No, it doesn't look like you can. Can you jump over the wire? Yes, surprisingly you can. If you're accurate enough with your jump, you'll avoid triggering the bomb. It's a deadly game of jump rope, except if you hit the rope and you lose, you're actually gonna die. Impact grenades are in the game, but they don't explode directly on impact by the looks of it, more like a split second later, and they appear to do a maximum of around 80 damage. Mini grenades are in the game too. You get 2 of them when you spawn in, and you can throw them a little bit further, but it seems that they can only put out a maximum damage of around 60. Gas grenades take roughly 10 seconds to kill a full health opponent. Don't forget though, if you're stood in enemy gas, you can always equip your gas mask to negate the effect, but you won't be able to aim down the sights of your weapon. Incendiary grenades, yes, they set people on fire quite horrifically actually, but can a player that's on fire run up to an enemy player while stood next to them and then set them on fire? These are the important questions and the sort of things that we got to test. At the moment, the answer is no, you can't run around as the Human Torch and set other players on fire. Do gas grenades damage tanks or the driver inside of them? No, they don't. Do incendiary grenades? Not the driver, but it does damage the tank a little bit. There won't be any smoking people out of tanks in BF1 it seems. What about tripwire bombs? Do they damage tanks? No, they don't, but they do a little bit of damage to the light armoured vehicles. You probably know this already or have seen it in other videos, but you can actually leap over bigger walls in Battlefield 1 like some sort of crazed parkour demon. Of course, there's a limit to this, but if it looks like you can grab it, you probably can vault it. The AT rocket gun for the assault class can only be fired when deployed, so that usually means either prone or on a wall or a window, but it can be useful to know that you can actually deploy it on tanks if you need to take a quick pot shot and the opportunity presents itself. The light tank can poop out gas grenades and also a large med pack. How does the melee takedown mechanic in the game work? From what I can tell, you can only take down a full HP enemy from behind or if they're prone. So for example, a full HP enemy with their back to the wall cannot be killed with a takedown, but it seems that if the enemy has taken I think at least 20 damage, you can do a takedown from any direction. They are quite brutal animations indeed, and you can even bayonet charge enemies that are prone too. And finally for today, I just wanted to show you these sexy animations for changing seats when you're in the bomber plane. They look very nice, and someone on Reddit was asking, does it work upside down? Well, let's take a look. Yes, it does. It works upside down somehow, but of course, leave it for too long and you'll find yourself crashing into the ground just like I did. And that's all for today folks. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked it, please do give me a thumbs up. Videos like this take ages to put together. If you didn't like it, a thumbs down. I hope you're having a nice weekend. Remember, you can pick up a Jack Frags Armory t-shirt at the link on the screen now and also down in the description below. With that said guys, once again, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.